Welcome, everyone, to episode 52 of the Looks Like a Movie podcast. My name is Kevin. I'm here with Doug, Owen, and our guest today, Alex. We're going to be talking about Argylle. He is one half of the Escape Pod podcast. Am I anything else you want to plug before we get started?
No, absolutely not.
Sweet. We're going to talk about what we watched this past week. Who wants to go first? You guys want me to go first? I barely watch movies this week.
Go.
I watched Clue yesterday with my friend, rewatched Clue for like the fourth time in the past 4 months, maybe. I don't know. I fucking love that movie. It's so funny. I saw Argylle, obviously. I watched Oscar-nominated animated feature Nimona. Kind of cute movie, actually. Kind of like really sweet. It kind of surprised me a little bit. I cried a lot. I was like, oh, this is kind of nice, actually.
Is that like a trans thing? Because I think my mom watched that and was like,
it
trans
is
movie on Netflix.
Yeah, it's like pretty explicitly a trans movie. It's like but it's very nice. I think like the representation is actually quite sweet to have in a kids movie, like the way that they go about it, at least. I watched this movie called Tyrannosaur, which is really fucking dark. I watched it because Olivia Colman's in it, but then I realized that Paddy Considine directed it. He's like, I don't know if you guys know who that is.
Yeah.
Some of like my favorite TV acting performances. He's only directed one feature film, I think, which is this one in 2011. Or actually, no, he directed one more, but still, he should make more movies. It was really good and really bleak, just like one of the most depressing things you could possibly watch. And then I watched Little Fish, which is also pretty depressing. It's like a romance about this like virus that's going around, and if you get it, you just like slowly start to lose your memory. And it's about like this couple, and the one guy starts losing his memory, and then they realize that like he's not going to know who she is anymore. It's really sad. It's like it's really dark, and like not dark, but like it's really sad, except it's one of those like making it obvious kind of things, like they're really trying to make you cry. And I was just I've had enough of this now. And that was it pretty much. Doug, you want to
go? So this last week I've re-entered the Sui Hark universe. I watched Flying Swords of Drakengate, which not a great movie, but it's notable because it's the first 3D IMAX movie ever produced in China. That was cool. I watched both Zoo Warriors and put some people on.
Is Owen one of those people?
Notably, yes.
Okay.
And then I also watched The Master, and I watched a couple like avant-garde shorts, not nearly as many as Owen's about to talk about, but and then I watched American Fiction last night with my parents. That was cute.
Oh, did you like American Fiction?
Yeah, it was okay.
It's like funny.
Yeah.
It's good. Jeffrey Wright's awesome. Okay, Alex, you want to
go? Yeah, sure. It feels that I'm really doing the stereotype here. I really feel like I need to watch more stuff. I saw Argylle last night.
Yeah.
And the I don't know if you guys talk about TV shows on here, but the upcoming live action Avatar: The Last Airbender show is coming up. So we have been rewatching the animated show. We're on season 2 of that. That's a great show. And then I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you have. You guys ever seen 2016's The Handmaiden, the South Korean movie?
Yeah, Park Chan-wook.
Yes, yeah. So my house has never seen Parasite, the Best Picture winner from 19.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite movies of all time. And I remember seeing The Handmaiden after Parasite and thinking, oh, wow, Parasite is like kind of really derivative of this. And like if I would have seen this in 2016, I think I would have thought differently about Parasite, and they've always wanted to see Parasite. So I said, let's start with Handmaiden. I wanted to see the perspective of somebody that saw Handmaiden first, then Parasite. So we watched The Handmaiden this week. 2 of my roommates hated it, and then one of them loved it, and then one of them walked out. And
wow.
So we'll do Parasite this week, and I'll let y'all know how that goes. I assume much better because it's a much more commercialized version.
Yeah.
When The Handmaiden came out, it's like an Amazon movie. so when it came out, I watched it with my mom, and neither of us knew what it was, and she had to walk out because of all the sex scenes.
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah,
It's pretty graphic.
yeah.
But I don't know. It's great.
Yeah, gorgeous movie.
Yeah, I don't like it as much as Parasite, but I get that that's like I get what I'm doing there, but I'm sorry. I'm gonna go with the more commercial one every time. But yeah, that's all I've watched this week. Thank you for my TED Talk.
Okay. I'll give the cliff notes. So, like,
Okay.
so how far are we going back? It's the 4th when we're recording.
I believe the
The
28th.
20s. Yeah.
The 28th.
Starting with
Okay.
what you watched on the 28th, yeah.
So I watched Anyone But You, the new Will Gluck picture with Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell.
So good.
Absolutely magical fucking movie.
Question:
Gluck
Are you
verse.
gonna go? Are you gonna go rewatch the Valentine's Day extended cut?
Yeah. Well, I'm probably gonna go back, and now that they announced that, I'll just gonna wait for that because I think that movie is really fun. I watched Much Ado About Nothing, the Kenny B version of that Shakespeare play, which was fine. I did watch Zoo Warriors because Doug told me to watch it, and I watched Zoo Warriors again, and then I watched Zoo Warriors from the Magic Mountain, the '80s version.
Yeah.
I had to watch Dawn of the Dead for school. I watched Gamer, the Brian Taylor movie. That movie is nuts. Then I just went like on a kind of crazy rabbit hole of these like experimental short films.
Like 200 logs in a row.
Okay, maybe not 200. It was like 30 short films or something.
Yeah, you really pumped the numbers up.
Yeah, well, I don't know what. Let me see what.
Bro, they called you snap. They called you fucking.
Yeah, I was gonna say someone in your Twitter reply said you were stat pad.
Yeah, somebody called you Russell Westbrook out there. That was crazy.
Yeah, no, so I don't know. Let's see what started it. Oh, I think there was just a letterbox list because I was looking at like digital films. Like I was just like scouring the list, and then I found a list, and I was like, oh, I'll just like watch some of these. And then you find a guy that you're interested in, and then you watch his stuff, and then you know how that works.
Yeah.
And then I found some stuff that I couldn't get access to, and then I had to like message a guy, and then I got like a folder of films.
On like KG, you got to get your KG guy.
Yeah, I had to ask a guy. It's like, how do you watch these? It has like 100 logs on Letterboxd or something. So I sent some of those to Doug. Then I rewatched some M. Night movies because George was talking about how bad they were, and I was like, "Oh, I was like, I'll rewatch these. I want to rewatch these." I saw Argylle, and then I've been listening to Alice in Wonderland on audiobook. So then I started like watching like every Alice in Wonderland adaptation.
Yeah,
because
I saw
I'm just
that.
like in a space right now. And then I watched Peggy Sue Got Married with my mom last night, and then we listened to the Thanksgiving audio commentary last night, which was really fun.
We as in not your mom.
We as in me and my friends.
Okay. The implication there was that you and your mom did that. Yeah.
No. Me and my mom watched Peggy Sue Got Married, and then some of our friends and me watched the Thanksgiving audio commentary.
Did your mom like Peggy Sue?
Yeah, no, she wanted to watch something fun because like the last thing I showed her was Jean Dielman, and she really liked that, but that's like 3 hours long, and like it takes your day up. And Peggy Sue Got Married is like very fun. It's like Back to the Future if instead of you're going to the past and you're like, oh, this is so different, like you're experiencing it for the first time. It's like Back to the Future if you're going back to your past, and it's like nostalgia, and rather than like it's a new thing. You're very nostalgic about that era. So it was cool for her. Not that because it's like set in the 60s, so obviously that's not like an era, but like a lot of the stuff kind of resonated with her, which was cool. It was a really fun.
I really thought you were going to say it's like Back to the Future, but good.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen Back to the Future in a long time. I really like those movies when I growing up, but it's definitely has that kind of. It's kind of Back to the Future, Alice in Wonderland, because I don't know.
So like perfectly on theme.
Yeah. We'll definitely talk about that in an episode.
Yeah.
But that was my week, my
nice
kind of week.
Are we ready to jump into some Argylle?
Yeah,
Into
let's
the
do it.
Matthew
We can-
Vaughn verse.
We can throw the spoiler tag there immediately. You're gonna
no.
if you keep listening, you're gonna find out who the real Agent Argylle is. If that matters.
First, I think first thing I'd like to say is I'm interested in everyone's familiarity with Matthew Vaughn.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, does anybody here really fuck with the Kingsman movies?
I don't know how you guys feel about them. Like, I know I'm in the minority with this, especially in my community. I think they're all bad.
Okay.
I think they're all bad. I think the first one, like, I don't like the first one. I've never liked the first one, and I get shit on by
Like
not I think it's bad.
I've never seen a Kingsman movie, so
The first
Neither have
one,
I.
fine. The sequel is not. And then they made like a spin-off, I guess, right? Like a separate. I don't know how that one works. I'm gonna be honest, not to jump too far ahead, but there's a credit scene in Argylle that connects Kingsman. And as it was playing, I like saw the Kingsman thing, and then like stuff was happening, and I said to my friend next to me, I was like, I don't know what this means. Like, I don't know what's going on.
So I have seen all of the Kingsman movies. Neither did I. It doesn't.
I was like, who are these people?
At first, I was like, "Oh, that's a cute reference,"
Yeah.
and then you're like, "Is it a cute reference, or is this connected?" Right? But let me tell you, the Kingsman, which is the prequel with Ray Fiennes,
that's what I'm thinking of.
that movie takes the cake for the craziest after credit scene of all time.
Is that the Hitler one?
Yes, they tease Hitler fully like he's Thanos. It's crazy. You are watching. It's the craziest thing you've ever seen. This movie may be the second craziest after credit scene I've ever seen, but for a completely different reason.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's so many twists in this movie. It's very bizarre because it's obvious that, and I think that makes it kind of difficult to critique from the perspective of somebody that likes it, like somebody that's a fan of it, because it's obviously a parody of spy movies, right? And it's being like derivative and ridiculous on purpose, right? Because it's kind of like making fun of genre or whatever. But then you're watching it and you're like, this is so unserious in an unfunny way.
I wish I could buy into the humor. I was like, because I know, you know what it is. You know what kind of ruined the experience for me. And I hate to say this, but when Owen got out of it and he was like, "Oh, that's not the worst movie ever," I was like, "Oh, maybe." I was like, maybe this will actually be kind of fun. And then I was in the theater, and like 30 minutes in, I was like, "Bro, I am falling asleep in my chair."
Oh, it's so fucking boring.
Like,
it's so boring.
I was kind of vibing with it. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I know everyone else is like, this is really bad. So I don't know. I've known of Sam Rockwell for a long time. I haven't seen him in many things. I really liked him sort of here for like the first, I don't know how many minutes. I think obviously, so the movie stars Bryce Dallas Howard, and she is a writer, and she writes these spy novels, and then she like, I don't know, she can't finish the last book. Like she's on like the last chapter or whatever. So she goes on a train and then she meets Sam Rockwell's character, and then like chaos ensues. And I thought like the like stuff with them at the beginning where like she doesn't know what the fuck's going on and he's just like, riffing. I thought that was like fine. Like I was like, oh, this is like not, because I was like, I went into the movie like I was not going to find anything that I like had any, like I just thought I was going to be bored and wanted to be over, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. But then it just gets worse and worse as it goes on.
Yeah,
I didn't like that whole like third act on that ship was.
Oh, I mean that's
yeah.
That's
I don't
know.
know.
The whole second half, once we find out who the real Agent Argylle is, the movie
once you find out who the real Agent Argylle is, the movie is like the worst movie ever. But I kind of did like the little like adventure with Bryce Dallas Howard, and just because Bryce Dallas Howard and Sam Rockwell are just so good, I
Yeah.
was like, oh, this is like acceptable to me, I guess.
But
Like,
that's just Sam Rockwell. Like he's kind
Yeah.
of good
Yeah.
in everything. Like he's
no, it was something
like-
Matthew Vaughn was doing.
yeah.
But also, like, he might be the most talented actor who doesn't know how to be in a good movie.
Yeah, I'm looking at
He doesn't
I'm
really
looking at
make
his
movies.
Do you
The
guys-
only-
IMDb. I mean, or his
Do you guys
Letterboxd
not
page
like
right now?
3 Billboards? None of you have seen 3 Billboards?
I've seen
I
it.
haven't seen that.
He's good in it. The movie,
You don't like it. That's fair.
I liked it a little bit more when I watched it at the time that it came out. I think if I watched it today, I would have much harsher words to say about
Right.
it. But like he's good in Moon, which is like a one-man show, and like the movie's not great, but he's just kind of like, it's just like a here's me being really good at acting thing. And then he's in that movie The Way Back, which like if you like kind of his vibe, he's like very lovable in that movie. And then he's just like not made any good
Yeah.
movies besides
I mean,
this.
he plays Bob Fosse in the Fosse Vernon miniseries, which I've only heard good things about. But
Let me list the movies I've seen Sam Rockwell in: Iron Man 2, G-Force, Jojo Rabbit, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie from 1990, and Argylle. That is my Sam Rockwell
You
experience.
know what you might like though, Owen, is he's in Matchstick Men, the Ridley Scott movie.
Oh yeah, no, I've heard things about that. He's
He's
also in
compete in that
Light Sleeper, the Paul Schrader film. Yeah, there's. I mean,
Okay,
I
so-
like
and
him
he's
in
in
here.
Assassination of Jesse James. He's in like
Yeah.
he's in real
He,
movies.
but like, if I can take anything positive out of Argyle, it is that like I am confident that Sam Rockwell is like a good actor.
Yeah,
It's unfortunate here, the movie that he's in is not really great.
I think that the first 3 minutes of Argyle are really entertaining. Before we're
leave apart.
yeah, before we're introduced to the Bryce Dallas Howard character, and it's just like Henry Cavill, and it's just like a very over the top kind of ridiculous parody of Spy, and it's like I thought that was really entertaining, and then the real movie starts, and it instantly becomes very boring to me.
I really don't like that device, like the whole like going back and forth between the real world and like the book
Yeah, well,
world.
what did you think about Henry Cavill keep like popping up? Like
Not a fan.
I thought honestly, I thought that it worked when the Sam Rockwell character is first introduced, right? And we have that first like real world action sequence where it's Bryce Dallas Howard, like we're in her eyes and she's blinking. And it's like going back and forth between them as she's blinking. I thought that worked for like 3 minutes, and then they do it for like 50 minutes.
That's what I meant. That's
but
what I meant.
like when I was watching that in the first time you do it on the train, I was thinking to myself, oh, like, so I'm contrary to popular belief. I'm not a big action guy. Action set pieces are typically my least favorite part of big blockbuster movies. So like that's part of the reason why everybody gets mad at me that I don't like Kingsman 1. Everybody's like, oh, but the action's incredible. I don't care. That when she's blinking, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe finally I will get what people are saying with like a creative Matthew Vaughn action sequence. No, it sucks. It sucks so bad. I hated every second of it. I hated it so much. I hate Henry Cavill and that stupid fucking haircut so much. Get him off my screen. I was furious. When that lasted as long as it did, I was furious.
It lasts so long.
Legitimately, Owen has made maybe 20 videos about how much me and my podcast sucks, and I've never been mad at him. I'm sitting in this fucking theater, and I was furious that I had to watch this fucking movie for Owen. I was furious. That movie
That's so
sucks.
funny.
This movie sucks. It's so bad. When it's fucking Rachel Kyle or whatever the fuck, and it's all Kyle.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like, oh, you're shitting me. I would have bet money that Argyle was the fucking cat. That would have been better. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I
we
thought it was
actually
gonna be
did
the
place
cat
bets
too.
last episode.
Would you have preferred it to be the cat?
Probably not. I get that would have been so dumb. But like, Oh my gosh. And like, did you guys see? I was like scrolling on Twitter. I just looked up Argylle. Did you see that they spoiled the movie 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
That was
should.
a-
We were gonna bring
That was a
up, I
funny
think.
thing on Twitter because, like, when they announced it as Bryce Dallas Howard is playing a spy that's suffering from amnesia, and now she's like a writer, writing about her experiences.
Mhm.
And then like the marketing like shifted towards like, hey guys, you never saw that, and now we're like, who's the real Agent Argylle is like that marketing. But I think it's hilarious if like this movie's been memed for months, and it took forever for someone to like look up like the initial like fucking
Yeah.
tweets and stuff about
Okay,
it.
to be fair, right, and to be fair to the marketing team and everything and everybody that like nobody looks back at like the press
Yeah,
release from
no.
like pre-production, like
Yeah.
But I just think it's funny of like
It's
how
funny that they
much
released
was-
it like 2 days before, like 2 days before the movie came
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
People resurfaced the tweet. It's like they waited till like the very last minute, and then they were like, "Oh, we're gonna screw you over." Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which was almost interesting watching it from that perspective and being like, because I knew like she
Yeah.
was actually, so I was like, how is this gonna? But I almost like I think even like if it like the cat at the end, if the cat just started like walking and talking, I would have been like, I would like the way that the movie and the tone of this movie is so like stupid, like that I would have expected that too, because like there's a moment at the end where the cat like jumps on the evil Bryan Cranston's face.
the
And it's
ugly
like-
ass CG cat jumps on the
Yeah,
Bryan
yeah,
Cranston
yeah.
face.
This movie just doesn't have any like rules really. So like if the cat all of a sudden started talking like a British accent, I would have totally been like, yeah, that's what happens in this movie. Because I mean that whole sequence at the end where she's skating on like the oil is like
Ridiculous. It's
that
ridiculous.
wouldn't. That's like, it doesn't make any sense at all.
well,
I was like, it's cool, I guess. But...
It's so ugly. That's my kind of
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
point.
no, I
it's-
know. As it was
it's-
happening, I was like, this is hideous to look at. That's what I said. I
Yeah.
was like, this is a cool idea, off like the worst execution in the world.
Well, it gets really confusing at the end of like how much she remembers and how much like, because like they keep going back and forth of like she's Ellie Conway and she's Rachel Kyle. Like it's real like every 2 seconds she's like either knows everything or knows nothing. And then all of a sudden she like
Yeah.
has like she can fight and do all these crazy things, and then she goes like straight back to like not being. It's really they bounce between those like two things like really.
And the
fast.
movie doesn't really communicate like how like was Rachel Kyle like actually a bad guy? Was she like in triple deep cover? Was like, you know what I mean? It's like it doesn't really
They
communicate.
keep twisting the movie so much that it
Yeah.
gets like lost in there's no like you said communication of like anything. It's so muddy in the way that it's like trying to tell this story that you're left with like no really understanding of how anything works.
Yeah. And on top of that, the movie's not funny. No, I would say notably not funny at all.
Yeah.
Oh man, it felt like I don't want to offend you, Alex. I don't know how you stand on this. It felt like very like Deadpool humor. And that was
Yeah.
it was
No,
very grating
well,
for me. Like,
I mean we talked about how bad Bullet Train is, and
Yeah.
I was in the blind for the bathroom, and the guy was, I don't know if the guy was saying it in a way that he liked the movie or not, but he was I heard from that line was I got Bullet Train vibes from that one. And that is like that's not the greatest cosign, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know I do think like you kind of hit the nail on that post Deadpool action movies is like the worst kind of film of all time.
Yeah.
what happened to my beautiful genre?
Well, I think every action movie post Deadpool and John Wick are like they're trying to be those two things. And I think I'm not crazy about John Wick, but when you're fusing John Wick with Deadpool, it gets to be like the worst thing imaginable.
Yeah.
I just but
Well,
it's like
even if you're
it's like
just-
Walmart version of John Wick and then like Deadpool humor, and it's like
Yeah. And Argylle's not very John Wick, but
No.
to talk about that, like how like every action movie is trying to be one of those two things. Now it's like any like Deadpool is already a really bad starting point. So anything trying to rip off Deadpool is like, oh my god. But then even with John Wick, like I really like John Wick, but like you can't rip off John Wick and be that successful, because the reason why John Wick works so much is that Chad Stahelski is just really talented at making these choreographed action scenes, and nobody else can do it as good as him. So like that also like doesn't work.
It's also like John Wick's pulling from so much like inspiration. So then John Wick's pulling from all these like inspirations of like Hong Kong cinema and like silent film and stuff like that. So then you're pulling from a film that's already pulling from so much. So it's just
a
like
derivative of a derivative.
It's like getting watered down to like the smallest, like, it's, I don't know, the action. But I said this on Twitter that like with The Beekeeper, which I like considerably better, and Argylle and some other movies that are coming out, like it feels like this. I mean, it's January, February, like that's the beginning of the year, but it's like I feel like we're just getting all these like B movie action movies right now. Like that's the feels right now. It's all these like kind of mid-budget.
Well, they need to
mid-budget. This movie costs $200 million.
Argylle is not you can't say Argylle is a B movie because it costs as much as the last Mission Impossible.
That's crazy.
That's the thing, is they all feel like it, but some of these movies cost way more, which is you do not see the money on the screen here.
No,
this is a perfect segue to exactly what I wanted to talk about with you guys. Who the fuck is Matthew Vaughn? That like he's the guy with the new cinematic universe. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not, this isn't some like what he's made. Is Layer Cake from 2004 with Daniel Craig? Is that some cinematic masterpiece? He made the best X-Men movie by default, and like the Kingsman movies, and we're just giving him an unlimited budget, and he's just like if you hear this guy in interviews, he's like, we're the next spy franchise, we're the next James Bond, I'm a genius. Like, who the fuck is this guy that we're just giving him a blank check and whoever he wants to cast in whatever?
We talked about this last night, but the Kingsman movies made money, Doug, right? Those movies made
money. Okay, I just looked these up right in real time. I think all of them made around between 100 and 150 like box office worldwide.
Like profit or just like straight?
No, just straight. Like the Kingsman, like the prequel, the most recent one bombed. It lost money.
Yeah,
no,
I didn't know anybody who
the movies aren't making a ton of money.
So then how did this happen? How? And I've got the answer for you. The fucking book that's written under the pseudonym that this shit is based on, guaranteed J.K. Rowling. Guaranteed.
No.
Guaranteed. There's no fucking way. Dude, I spot her writing.
J.K. Rowling is not ghostwriting the Matthew Vaughn movie.
I'm dying on this hill.
Ellie Conway confirmed.
This is a J.K. Rowling product. Dude, somebody came to her and was like, let's make a movie where a wizard shows up at your door and everything you wrote was right. And she was like, that's great. But the studio was like, we can't do that. Nobody likes J.K. Rowling. So they just made it Spies.
No. Saying J.K. Rowling, it's like the likelihood of J.K. Rowling writing this is equal to like the likelihood of fucking like Le Carre writing this. That's crazy. That's so insane.
That's my take. Crazy. I'm sticking with it. J.K. Rowling wrote
is that more believable than Paul Thomas Anderson writing Killers of the Flower Moon?
That's funny. Saying the PTA, that guy on Twitter just said that, and everybody was like, "Huh?" Like that's so crazy.
He was like, the reason like a writer for Killers isn't doing press is because he didn't write that shit. He's actually a fraud.
He just said that he's the only person to ever say that, and it was just on Twitter at Rocks.
He said I heard it at the bar. He said I overheard that at the bar. And they tweeted it like it was breaking news.
Yeah, it was like a reply to like an Esther tweet, and it just started like
now
discourse.
The streets say that Paul Thomas Anderson wrote Killers of the Flower Moon.
Well, shout out PTA, he's a good writer,
this is true. How do we bridge that back to Argylle? I wanted to bring up things about the movie, but I actually don't remember what happens in the movie.
Jackson watches a Lakers game
Yeah,
Yeah.
this happened like like a few too many times. Like it's weird how much of the screen it takes up. Like they like really want you to like know that
it's
he's
like
watching the Lakers game. And like I even said it to Doug, I was like, they give you enough time to where I was like recognizing every player on the court. I was like, I'm literally just watching a Lakers game right now. Like it's weird that it takes up the whole screen. I was like, what are we doing?
It's like a VR experience where you get to watch the Lakers with Samuel L. Jackson. It's like they're like
you're just like looking over his shoulder and it's like a fucking commercial for NBA TV.
I guess it was like a device to communicate the passage of time, you know.
Sure.
But also, I don't know, the movie's so bad it doesn't matter. Like
it's such a the writing, because we're talking about writing, like narratively, the movie just makes no sense.
I know that this probably isn't the thing that this podcast would typically talk about. But this is something that my podcast would typically talk about, and we're not going to talk about Argylle, so I feel like I have to get this out.
Okay.
Samuel L. Jackson is a Elon Musk billionaire type. He's the villain of the original Kingsman movie.
Okay.
Okay.
So, if this movie is connected to the Kingsman franchise, which is apparently heavily implied by the nonsensical after credit scene with Olivia Rodrigo's boyfriend.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Wait, is that who that guy is?
It makes no sense. It makes no sense. They're the same guy. They're two different guys. I don't like it. I
actually just remembered from you saying that he's in Kingsman. Like I forgot that detail, and now it's all like coming back to me. Like he is like the guy. Yeah, he's like the guy. Yeah.
Like it doesn't. And then so then another guy that looks exactly like him, just slightly older, is also the head of the CIA or whatever the fuck.
Former head of the CIA. Yeah.
But they exist in the same universe. Yeah, that's
it's really confusing because so we learn that Bryce Dallas Howard's character is the real Agent Argylle, and then the post-credit scene is about the young version of Henry Cavill's character that's a fictionalized version of her memories. It's like it's like a prequel to the book that isn't real. It's not a real book, but it's about her. It's connected to the Kingsman movies somehow.
The Henry Cavill reveal really doesn't make sense if you think about it for more than 5 seconds, because it's like it's literally because he's a book character, right?
Yeah.
And it's like and book characters don't look like, because it's a book, you know. It's like he's specifically like her her imagination. It doesn't make any sense. Like that's not how that works. Like
they did give him the Superman mullet, and I was pretty happy about that.
Oh yeah, that's true. Like the black suit Superman hair.
He shows up at the end, so he exists in Henry Cavill exists in the universe as I don't know, like they don't name him or anything. He shows up at the end, so he exists in this world as both her imagination and like a real person.
Yeah. What does it mean?
Yeah.
Alex, question. Do they show like American agents in the Kingsman movies? Because I don't remember. But
they don't in the first one, but in the second one,
that's when the guys show up. Yeah, okay.
Channing Tatum is part of the Statesman.
That's right.
And
so is Argylle like, is it a possibility that this is that? What's the
I think Argylle, I think it's implied, if it's a part of the same universe, I think it's implied because he and I think Olivia Rodrigo's boyfriend are British.
Yeah.
So they're going to be Kingsmen. But
the flashback, they're talking in those thick ass accents.
Is Rachel Kyle a statesman? I don't know.
That's what I'm asking.
Well, I guess my reading of
my reading of Argylle.
Yeah. So it makes me feel like this is like the real life, and then the Kingsman shit is fake because it's like the book. You're talking about the book universe, and all the Kingsman shit is in that book universe. So it's like now the Kingsman universe is just like not the real shit. It's because what they're doing in the post cut scene is they're like, this is the Kingsman world, and we're introducing a character that only exists in this book, and so it's I don't know, it almost like it's bad. I don't know. I don't know why.
Interesting. What if the whole movie was fake? Because
The
it
Argylle?
does. Yeah, the whole everything.
That's a really easy cop out to just make
well,
movies
because
that
at
you
the
want.
post credit scene happens, and then it cuts to L. Conway's wall where it says Book 1 or whatever, and it's like,
Well,
I don't know.
So it's like it's really weird. And nothing makes sense, and I don't
Shout out.
know why Matthew Vaughn is doing the things that he's doing.
So I think I know, because I think what Matthew Vaughn is attempting to do with Argylle, right? Or maybe you could even say he just does, right? And we just don't like it, is he's trying to bridge the gap from Austin Powers, right? Which is like obviously like very specifically a parody of James Bond and Deadpool. He's trying to combine those two things, I think, with Argylle. And I'm going to be honest, it's not I think he's doing the Austin Powers part badly, and I just don't like Deadpool.
Who the fuck wants that?
Yeah, exactly. Like
who wants that? If anybody in the universe would want that, it would be my podcast. Andrew's not going to see Argylle, and I thought it was a fucking chore. Like, nobody wants this. Like,
It's really bizarre. I don't even know if Matthew Vaughn, does Matthew Vaughn want this? I don't know.
Clearly.
Well, yeah, it's weird. He seems like a freak. He has a very bizarre needs.
He has a very twisted mind.
Yeah, from the twisted mind. That's the funniest joke that this whole thing has come out, is the twisted mind from Matthew Vaughn, because that's everybody's
have people seen Layer Cake? Is there any proof that his mind is even a tiny bit twisted?
Layer Cake is like a cult classic in England.
Sure, yeah, but I'm saying is that movie
does he think twisted mind means there's just a lot of twists in the movie?
No, the twisted mind of Matthew Vaughn, it's like a joke. It's like a joke.
I was watching this movie. I was watching this movie thinking, okay, this movie's got a PG-13 rating. What about this movie is going to be twisted and weird, right? But then I'm watching the movie, and the 16th fucking twist happens, and Bryan Cranston is her dad or something, and I'm and I'm like, oh, from the twisted mind. Oh, there are just twists. Oh, but I'm over here laughing my ass off when Tyler Whitmore of Real Talk is tweeting from the sicko crazy mind of Matthew Vaughn.
Yeah.
No, it's not that at all. It's it's just a twisty movie. No.
It's the best joke of the whole movie. Is that part of the trailer?
Yes.
Well, I think that twist where she calls her parents and she has them book a hotel. And then she goes up and she sees her mom, and her dad has obviously not been shown at this point. And it's like a Spider-Man homecoming ass reveal where Bryan Cranston walks into the room. And I
really like the homecoming reveal. Sorry. Love that.
The homecoming reveal, I don't have negative things on it. That's just what I think of when I think of this I don't know. Reveal.
It's just hard. It's hard to not think of that when you watch any movie that has come out in the past couple of years and they do that thing. You're just oh, they're doing the Marvel thing.
Yeah.
It's there's just people popping up.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, it's even in that. Oh, you go.
No, I have a question, and I really don't mean to feel if I'm being an asshole in the slightest. I really don't mean to be. But how much longer can we talk about this movie? Because I'm done. Like, I'm out. I have nothing else to say. There's nothing. Like, I'm happy to sit and listen to you guys talk. I am over it. Like, I'm frustrated to the max.
No, the movie's bad. The movie, yeah. I don't know. I don't really have much. I think I was gonna say, well, in that scene where we talk about that twist where Bryan Cranston gets revealed, there's another like twist moment in that thing because they shoot Catherine O'Hara, and then she obviously has a bulletproof vest, of course.
Yeah.
It's just like there's it's really bad. That's my conclusion on Argylle. I didn't entirely hate myself during watching it, but that is like the highest of praise I can give it. I didn't want to die, but I did not like it.
It did make me want to die a little bit.
I think if Argylle was just funnier, it could have been like a fine movie, you know? That's my biggest problem is like you can't be it's like the action scenes I think are pretty bad already in terms like I think they're like poorly conceived and not very well choreographed or well shot or anything. But then it's like also I think a lot of it is just really ugly. It's like a lot of the joke action in like the third act with Elle Conway. I think like we already kind of said, like her skating around and even like
it just looks terrible.
Even like the big set piece part, which is like when they come out of the vaults with all of the smoke and stuff, and like
really,
and it's like cutting to like infrared and that shit like that. I think it's all very ugly, like really
Matthew
bad
Vaughn's
looking.
aggro drift.
Yeah, Matthew Vaughn's aggro drift. Matthew Vaughn's
Don't
even if you will, zone of interest.
Okay, he did it.
Okay, we're going. We're
all right, that's the end of the Argylle conversation.
Yeah, bad movie. That's okay. We can move on.
Right.
All right.
Wait. Can I ask, what's everybody's take on Zone of Interest? I am now very excited.
Oh, okay. Me and Kevin really like it. Doug is going through something. I don't know.
Yeah, Doug did not like it. We actually did.
I don't know.
Yeah, we had a
bizarre conversation about it.
It's a hard movie to talk about. Yeah, not the most productive conversation that we had on the podcast, but I don't know.
What did you say,
Alex?
Did
you guys would be really proud of me. I think you guys are going to be really proud of me. I saw Zone of Interest, and it gave me a new perspective on Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh, this might be. Wait, actually, this could, before anybody says anything, kind of the perfect segue into what we're going to talk about next, because that was the first movie up. So I don't know if we want to jump into that, but
I feel like this whole time, like my number one mind block, which obviously I'm sure you guys, I'm 100% sure, but like I know you guys only saw like the clips that went viral and this and that, so like everybody's only seen us go like nobody's actually, and everybody's like, oh, these guys, there's nothing in depth about this review, whatever, because that's all everybody saw. But like my main mind block with Killers of the Flower Moon, the main gripe I had with it is that it is essentially a Holocaust movie from the perspective of Nazis. And I couldn't get past that. And then I saw Zone of Interest. And I was like, oh, I get it. I was like, oh, because I got Zone of Interest more than I got Killers of the Flower Moon. So I was like, oh, is that what I've been doing? Am I that much is it that? Now, I still think other things about Killers of the Flower Moon, so I'll leave the floor to you guys. Like, you guys could ask whatever. The thing I will say, like, Owen's Killers of the Flower Moon video is my favorite Killers of the Flower Moon video on the internet. Just the walking up the stairs is the funniest thing in the world. But Kevin's video is also incredible because Kevin is like, what is the relationship? and you look at our stat and it's just superheroes and Funko Pops and this and that. Like, it's like, that's our relationship with art. We buy, so I thought that was also incredible.
Hell yeah, brother.
Like, it was a video that somebody made.
Yeah, it was a bit hard.
Like, it was just a one-word response. And it was like one sentence response. Like, they stitched it and they went, we really need to do research on the long-term effects of Funko Pops on the human brain.
Yeah, you guys getting lead poisoning, or like what's going on over there?
Incredible. All right, I'll leave the floor to you guys. What do we got?
Yeah. So for context, we could keep talking about Codes of the Flower Moon. For context, I've got a list of some of Alex's lowest rated movies that maybe other people would not rate so low, and we're gonna go through them. But I had Codes of the Flower Moon first because you didn't rate it at all, and we've seen that clip that you mentioned, and like you said, me and Owen have both posted videos stitching it. So yeah, I don't know, we could talk about Codes of the Flower Moon. I guess you kind of just explained a little bit that you maybe like the movie more now than you did before.
I like the number one thing, like that was my main thing that I couldn't grasp as to why people liked it so much, because like I'm consistently like it's Cinema Joe's second favorite movie of the year, like it's so many people's, like it's in their top 5, everything like that. So many people are like, this is one of the best movies of all time, everything like that, and I don't get that at all. And that was my number one thing. I still think it's too long. I still think like there are so many, like I remember I saw it at IMAX headquarters. It's the best theater I've ever sat in. That's where I saw Oppenheimer in 70 millimeter. It's an incredible theater. I remember walking out of it and everybody being like, that was so spectacularly shot. There was no shots in that movie that wowed me except for maybe the final shot. Like I didn't think cinematically, like it, when we were first shown it.
Not even the fire in the field?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what about the fire when Ernest and his wife are locked in the room and then there's a fire going on outside and they see it through like the curtains.
Sure. Okay, but like that, like I don't even remember that. Like, you know, like it just but that at that point, like I'm 2 hours and 30 minutes into the movie, like I still have an hour and 15 left. Like, what are we doing here? Like and like, so this is my hot take. I don't think Lily Gladstone should win.
Oh no.
Sorry.
We're getting into dangerous territory now.
So I haven't seen Poor Things. I know a lot of people want Emma Stone to win. I'm sure she's great. But like, and I'm sure, but times can I see this woman go, oh no, and start crying like the same thing over and then she's just really tired for the last hour. Like, I don't know. Call me an asshole, whatever you want. I don't like. At the end of the day, I see all these people telling me how fucking amazing this movie is, and I've yet to hear someone describe this movie other than how important it is. Alex Coleman.
That's my problem too. Yeah,
I don't. His second favorite movie of the year, and I said, why? It was on a TikTok live. I believe this is where I met Doug, and Owen was on this live 20 minutes later.
Shout out.
I had this conversation with him. But I said, Alex, why is it your favorite movie? And then he goes, you know, such an important movie. It's a really, really important movie that we needed to see in today's day and age. It's really well shot and it's really important. And you know what? I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but at the end of the movie, something happens that just really meant a lot to me. Oh, you got excited about the fucking Martin Scorsese cameo. Marvel fans and Scorsese fans were the same. We got excited for a fucking cameo at the end of the fucking movie. Everybody talks about the Scorsese cameo, and then they shit on me because I like Spider-Man No Way Home. Like, same thing. Like, yeah.
I will say the context of those two different cameos is much more significant because one is like, you know, Marvel superheroes, and the other one is like Scorsese reckoning with like the entire, like his entire filmography and like the career he's built, and like being self-reflective on it.
Yeah, absolutely. They're different things, right? And I think like, and 100% different things. And exactly what you said is happening, right, Kevin? It's a very like kind of almost like a high art, like very metatextual thing that Scorsese's doing, and that's not happening in Marvel. But I will say though, and I don't want to put Alex Coleman on the hot seat, front of the podcast, Alex Coleman. I do think that a lot of people were being very dumb about Killers of the Flower Moon in the sense that like they didn't have perspectives that were particularly not meaningful, because it's harsh, because I don't have a meaningful perspective on movies either, but it's just like anything that's like interesting to say outside of just like watching something about a serious subject and being like, that's important because it's very serious,
Yeah, sure.
And
Yeah,
and
it's
that's
not really criticism.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
I don't love Killers. I will say there's a lot of like, I guess, technical stuff that I really appreciate from that movie, but it's not my favorite movie of the year by far. Where is it? Where does it lie for you too?
It's very high for me. It's in my top 5.
It's I mean, Killers of the Flower Moon. It's one of those things where like I watched it and I was like, oh, I don't really. I kind of did like a Zone of Interest thing a little bit, except I was higher on it. After I saw it, and I was like, I don't really know, man. I think what he's doing is kind of weird. Was he the right person to make this movie? And then I watched it again, and then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, this is a pretty it's pretty amazing movie.
But like, okay, take it from right, and this was, I don't, I'm on the internet. People know who I am. I go to this, Comic-Con thing in Orlando, and people ask to take pictures with me. It is my job then to take criticism. So if people are cooking me on the internet for something I said, I have to take responsibility in that. And I do feel that my one issue with the Killers of the Flower Moon discourse is I criticized Martin Scorsese. And I think a lot of people, their response was, you cannot criticize Martin Scorsese. He's done a lot of good stuff. And therefore, nobody can say anything bad about him, period. And I know I was saying bad things about him. I know the DMV comment. You think I didn't know the DMV? You think I didn't know the DMV comment was going to do something? Like, of course. Like,
kind of a clip god for that one.
I do think that, like, people are like being very soft about it. This guy makes movies in the public eye. He deserves some criticism. If I thought his fucking movie was boring, and guess what? I guarantee you that a lot of fucking people thought his movie was boring. Because guess what?
I agree.
To most people, it's a boring fucking movie. I get that, like,
I think that's fine.
I don't understand art the same way and everything like that. And I'm not appreciating the art. But guess what? 85% of America appreciates art the same way. And like, just because I like, and that was the thing that I did have a problem with, is like, just because a lot of people like Goodfellas does not mean that this old man is not infallible. He can do things wrong. And at the end of the day, like, Iron Claw is a movie that I saw this year. I'm sure all of you have seen it, where they kill multiple people from that movie. And guess what? I fucking care when the people die in a way that I don't care in Killers of the Flower Moon, because you made me resonate with the characters, the real life people. You made me resonate. And then when they died, I was upset. That's not something that Killers of the Flower Moon gives you, because you are following the whole time. You are following Adolf Hitler the whole time. You are following the people killing these people. And it's just,
a little bit more nuanced than Ernest being Adolf Hitler. I'm going to throw that out there, but I understand your perspective.
I don't think Killers or Martin is like without criticism. I don't think they're like perfect without.
But then I saw Zone of Interest, and I was like,
circling back.
Is that what he was doing? I still think he did it worse than Zone of Interest.
Yeah,
but
it's different.
Like,
I think they're
Zone
very
of Interest.
Yeah, I think they're very different.
I got a lot out of
kind of what Doug said with Ernest Burkhart and what is it, Rudolph? Like, I don't remember the guy's name.
Yeah,
Haas.
I think they're extremely different characters, especially like in the kind of the relationship they have to what they're doing. Also, I think like the way that they're framed is extremely different. But they are, there are two movies that are people that are directly involved with death, but I think it is very different in kind of a lot of ways.
But I think that they are like companions, like the films are companions.
I do think it is. Like, I think that's a valid thing to say, is that they are two movies that are kind of in response to each other in the ways that we tell stories about real life tragedies. I think that's totally valid.
The biggest thing that I got out of Zone of Interest, which I'm sure is the most baseline normie, like, you are supposed to take this away from Zone of Interest, But what I got so much out of it is how, you know, I mean, obviously it's the baseline. It's what the movie is about what the movie is showing is how easy it is for humans to just be complicit with terrible, terrible things. But what I got out of it was, am I living my life the way I'm living it, where my full-time job is talking about things that I like, and are things around me going on that are the worst things ever that I'm doing nothing about just because I'm only concerned with my own life. And that, I got so much out of that. I thought that was very profound. Obviously, probably the most baseline thing you're supposed to take away from that movie. But that's what I was thinking the whole
it's actually a really
movie.
good perspective.
And I thought that was like an amazing thing. It was like, here I am worried about, oh my gosh, my post is processing for 10 minutes, so it's not going to get as many views. So the check isn't going to be as much from TikTok this month. And, a genocide is going on in the Middle East. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, that's what I got from it. And that's exactly what I got from it. And I was like, wow. And I was like, is that what Killers of the Flower Moon is? Like, wow.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask, because you can. That's an important perspective to apply to Killers of the Flower Moon as well. I
kind of think it's different, because at the end of the day, that's what I got from Zone of Interest, and I didn't get anything like that from Killers of the Flower Moon. It did change Killers of the Flower Moon for me, because I was like, wow, I just look like an asshole.
I think that's to kind of segue off or bounce off that, I think, when people talk about, not directly to you, but a lot of times when people are talking about watching more movies and stuff, movies and art, and we talked about this in our Zone of Interest review, but every piece of art is in kind of companion with every other piece of art, and the way you're gonna view stuff is going to be different depending on the stuff you've seen. So obviously, like you said, your opinion and your views on Killers have slightly shifted in the ways that you view things because of your watch Zone of Interest. So I think it's kind of important to just kind of view a lot of stuff in kind of that thought process and the way of growth in your mindset kind of changing.
Yeah.
Do we have a next movie?
We have so many.
Let's go.
Okay. Next up, half star for Uncut Gems.
Oh yeah.
This is an interesting one.
I think I'm gonna sell you guys on this. No problem. Yeah. I think I'm gonna get you guys with this. No problem. Okay. I think that was the single most stressful experience of my life.
Yep, that's the point, brother.
And I get it. I get it. I've seen Good Time. I get it. I get what right?
Yeah, the Sappies.
But I get that I was supposed to be like this, but I've never wanted to walk out of a movie more. And I was just I hated it. I was I don't like this. I didn't want to be watching that movie. And then the ending happens and you get the release. And I was like, oh, this was an 8 out of 10. This is a 4 stars. What a great movie. What a great release. They shoot him in the fucking head. And I was like, damn it. No. And I hate it. So I hate it. I get that it's a good movie. I think it's a good movie. Yeah. There are technical, I get everything that it's doing. The technical aspects of the movie all work. I think it's a brilliant casting choice. It's you just had the whole spiel about companion movies, and I don't think these movies are similar in the slightest, but I think they do the same thing. Unbelievably Vile, Shocking and Evil is the Ted Bundy, Zac Efron movie. Title. And Uncut Gems, they cast somebody for Zac Efron, heartthrob, teen heartthrob. You watch him on High School Musical, you like him in Charlie St. Cloud, whatever the fuck. And Adam Sandler, he's Happy Gilmore. You love this guy, he's hilarious. It does the same thing of, without any character development and without any actual them being good people, because they're actually really bad people. You like them because you like the actor. It does the same thing. So you are upset if they don't succeed. I was watching the Ted Bundy movie, and because you don't see him commit any crimes until the very end. When he first gets put in jail, I was furious. I was like, what the fuck? Because they really make him seem like a good guy, because it's the perspective of the girl and this and that. But so those movies, and they came out at very similar times, it subconsciously makes you like them just because you like the actor, or at least that's the experience I had.
Yeah.
So I loved Adam Sandler and I wanted him to succeed so bad. And, watching him borrow money from Harry to pay off Joe was so stressful. And then they shoot him. And I was so angry at the movie. I gave it a half star. I will accept it is a much better movie than a 1 out of 10. It is a good movie. Everything. I just hate it. In the same way that I hate, you guys probably know this, I hate Man of Steel with all of my heart. It's my least favorite movie of all time. But I can accept technical aspects of that movie that are better than the technical aspects of other movies I've seen, like Samurai Cop. But then
Shout out Samurai Cop. Shout out.
It's
But
like
wouldn't you argue that part, like the real reason why you like Adam Sandler, I don't know, maybe this is just my perspective, but like the real reason why you like him or you're rooting for him is just because like you see him keep doing the wrong thing and you're like, damn, I want this guy to make the right decision. Like I think it's less about like the actor being likable and more just like, damn, this guy is digging himself into a hole and I feel bad and I don't want him to keep doing it.
Yeah, that's almost certainly part of it, and that's part of the filmmaking and everything. But like the exchange specifically with The Weeknd in that movie, who I'm a tremendous fan of. I didn't see The Idol. I heard it was terrible.
I was going to say The Idol. Do we have an Idol fan in our presence?
But like I just really like his music. But
sure.
No, it makes sense.
Are you playing Fortnite Festival?
When he his exchange with Adam Sandler in that movie, like I don't know, like The Weeknd's obviously terrible and a dickhead to him, but like I felt really bad, and I don't know if it was another actor. I don't know if I would feel bad because that's not him making a wrong decision. That's just a shit situation that he was put in. And if it was a character I didn't care about, let's say like Ernest Burkhart in Killers of the Flower Moon, I don't think I'd be upset for him.
Sure.
The same way I was for him, but that's
fair enough.
All right, next movie.
Okay, another half star, The Lighthouse.
Oh yeah, let's get into this.
Yeah, sorry, too much for me. Sorry, I got nothing for you. I don't have a unique perspective. I couldn't understand a word they were saying.
I like boys being dudes.
I saw it with my girlfriend Rachel, who, mind you,
Rachel Kyle Argylle.
Oh my gosh!
Shout out Rachel.
Like to put it in perspective, like I'm trying to like Fight Club, not an artsy movie, pretty normie movie. Fell asleep during Fight Club, like her perspective on film. Whatever you think my perspective on film is, like multiply it by 1,000. So I saw it with her, and her looking at me the whole fucking time didn't help. No, just too much for me. Sorry.
Okay.
I like The Witch. But
did you see
The Northman? The Northman?
I didn't see The Northman, but I'm excited for Nosferatu.
No, I'd be interested. I think you'd probably like The Northman more.
Yeah, I think so
you
too.
fuck with Vikings?
No, that's what
it's
I've heard.
It's like fun.
Yeah.
It's still it's not the most commercial movie, but it's like Alexander Skarsgård's a big scary Viking dude. Like it's
just a cool ass Viking movie. If you like Vikings, you're gonna like it. It's a cool ass Viking movie.
And there's like a Revenge of the Sith ass like battle at the end.
That's true. And that shit
it really is like Revenge of the Sith fighting in a fucking volcano. It's awesome.
We have a string of M. Night movies here. We'll start with the 1 star for Old.
Yeah.
This one is more.
Didn't like it. Sorry, I don't even think it's like it.
What about it? Don't you like?
That's not an artsy one. You guys, if you guys are old guys, I know Owen is. I don't know if Kevin and Doug are, but if y'all are old guys, y'all are in the minority. Sorry.
No, that's what I was gonna say. Ratings.
Like,
I'm gonna, but like we shouldn't be in the minority though.
Yeah,
it's like we're right, and everybody else is wrong.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, no, I also saw that one with my girlfriend. She was very excited for that one. I think that the premise is interesting. I just and I love the Nazi dude from Man in the High Castle. I think he's really great in that movie about being the worst dude. I think he's great. But at the end of the day, like, I don't know. It's just, there's only, for me, I get you love M. Night, but like for me, there's only so many M. Night twists I can take. And this one, I was
So you don't like the ending of the movie?
No, that it's the medical, like, and that they're doing.
What about everything else? Okay. If you just like take out everything from like like when everybody dies and it's just the two kids and they swim off, right? Once they start swimming off, if you take that out, right? What about that? What about everything up to then? Do you like that part? If you just take out like the very last 20 minutes,
it was consistent in making me feel the suspense, until I don't think it's the fault of the filmmaker. I don't think it's the fault of the cast, but I don't like the child being pregnant. And
that's not
I
what
get
they
it.
were gonna say.
I know. I just once that happened, I was like, ooh, like it was
That's reasonable.
uncomfortability, uncomfortability that like I wasn't prepared for on my airplane movie. And
That's fine. I think
was-
that I'm gonna be honest, Alex. I think that is like a way more valid criticism than 90% of the criticism of Old, which is just like that. Oh, the acting was bad
all
and the premise is dumb. That's what most people say about Old, and it makes me want to tear my fucking hair out.
I think the premise is really interesting, and I love a good I love a good secluded suspenseful movie, and I think the setup is good, and I think the little things. M. Night is brilliant at a twist. He's been brilliant at a twist since day one. Like the you're a policeman, like that is good. That is good. Like I like that, right?
Yeah.
I like little things like that. They do that in Black Mirror a lot. Like there's the pedophile episode, Shut Up and Dance, where he like picks up the thing for the kid, and then he's the pedophile at the end. Like that's good.
Yeah.
Like things like that are
The
good.
best episode of Black Mirror, by the way. I don't know if it's a hot take, but
I don't like it. But guess what? I don't like any of Black Mirror. Sorry.
Okay.
Like everything that I've seen. But again, and this plays into my opinion of Old, and this plays into this. I watch things and I rate it on how much I like it. So and
of course,
and into it comes in like, oh, how good it is. I love Cars 2. Cars 2 is not a better movie than Fight Club.
Shot out. It might be.
It might be.
It might be.
It
It might be.
You could make a case.
So
the cars
are
spies.
Like that.
How many movies did you say
spies.
the cars are spies?
Yeah.
Well, dude, Michael Caine phoning in the performance of Finn McMissile is my single greatest performance in animation. Finn McMissile, British intelligence, tomater, average intelligence, iconic. It's iconic. Let's keep it going. All right, what do we got next?
So this is interesting because Old makes sense since a lot of people hate that movie, but you also have The Village at 1 star, which is kind of one of his most liked movies.
People hate that movie too, though.
Liked, but
sure, no, some people still hate it, but
it's
like
more liked, but still
sure,
like that's
sure,
the
sure.
beginning.
There's only like two. There's only like two movies that people like actually like universally are okay with, but The Village is up there.
Do you guys know when The Village came out? I think it was 2005.
Yes,
around that.
I think it is 2005.
Okay.
Have you not seen it since 2005?
This is you ready for this? This is weird. This is weird. I think I saw The Sixth Sense when I was 4 because it was my aunt's favorite movie of all time, and I loved
psychotic.
it. I was like,
oh, wow.
I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is so cool, right? And so they promptly showed me Unbreakable because I was a superhero kid and I was into comics. I really liked Unbreakable. And then they showed me Signs, which is my favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie. I think Signs is really great. I think I watched Signs probably once or twice a year. I love Signs. I think Signs is great. So I had watched all of those either before or right around the time of The Village. And then we're like, all those movies are the same director and he's got a movie coming out. And I was like, holy shit. And my 5-year-old brain did not comprehend The Village. And I didn't like it. And I haven't seen it since 05 or 06, whenever the
you should revisit The Village.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So if you would like me to clarify, I will add a review on Letterboxd that said I watched this in 05 when I was 5 years old. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you right
That's
now
fine.
what the plot is, but I
Okay.
remember like being
Not
like,
liking it. Yeah.
that was not good. And then everybody around me being like, oh, I liked it. I just think you were a little young for that one. And so it wasn't until, it's funny because the two experiences in theater that I've had are both M. Night Shyamalan movies, which is The Village and The Last Airbender. The Last Airbender was the first movie I walked out of as a child, not thinking it was the best movie I've ever seen. You know, when you go see you're a child and you're 8 or whatever, like where you're like walk out
Every
and you're like,
movie is the best movie.
Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. That was the best movie I've ever seen. And that
Well, I mean,
may
that
have
is the
been,
best movie.
Yeah, that is one of the better
that
ones. Yeah.
may have been what was happening with the early M. Night Shyamalan movies, because since then I am lower on Unbreakable. I still really like The Sixth Sense and I still love Signs, but like that was those were movies that maybe I was higher on because I was just a child and I didn't get it. But The Village was the first movie where I went to a movie with adults and I saw the movie and I didn't like it, and the adults were like, I just think it wasn't for you. Like you might have been too young for that one. And so that was like there are movies that like you have to be older to understand. And then Last Airbender was one where I was like a kid and I was like, oh, that was bad. I hated that. I didn't like that at all.
You said, speaking of Last Airbender, I wanted to ask this earlier, but we got into Argylle really fast. You said that you're rewatching the cartoon, right? With your friends. Have you seen it many times, or is this your first time watching it since you were a kid?
This is my first time watching it since I was a child.
Okay. I did that in 2020 or 2021. I rewatched it as an adult too for the first time since I was a kid. How's it holding up for you?
It's incredible. It's really great. I really love it. I don't I don't know. I don't obviously I consume a lot of media for children. That's like my job. So
I mean, you're just like a lot of Americans. Yeah.
Like Elemental big box office for me, dude. I was fucking pumped, right? Like that's my job, right? So
yeah.
I don't I don't consume it any different. I think the jokes hit, especially for children, and like at the end of the day, like the Zuko and Iroh relationship, I think it's like just genuinely really profound. Like that, he loses his son, and Zuko and for me, like I have no relationship with my father, and so like for me specifically, like oh my gosh, like when like Iroh lost his son and Zuko has no relationship with his father, and like to put that together like that, everything with that is genuinely so profound. And for me to experience that at 8 years old, like I'm so grateful for that show. On top of genuinely really funny, I think that there's some really fun action set pieces. There's the arc in Ba Sing Se where the Earth guys are trying to get him or whatever, and like there's like just some genuine like Aang is staring at the camera and just stops a boulder like this while he's riding Appa, and it's like that's awesome, and like that gets me going. And I don't know, like I'm supremely excited for the show, and I think that the leaks,
that's what I was gonna
the
ask.
leaks that are coming out that everybody's like, you gotta change things. Like if the live action is a shot for shot remake of the animated show, why the fuck did you do it? I am a person that is a big fan of animation. Why the fuck are you? There's no doing something in live action. Does that make it better than animation?
Well, I think there's something that Doug talks about a lot, where it's like when you adapt something, and if you're like basically copying like a different medium to the screen, and you're like that's what you want. Are you saying inherently like that medium that you're taking from is a lesser medium if you want it to be translated? Because it's like, I want this animated show, but I really want it to be the same thing, but live action. Is that just, you're saying that you think animation is lesser? is.
Yeah, exactly, and that's garbage. Like I hate that. So I'm with you both there. If that's Doug's take, if that's Owen's take, who like Doug, I agree with that take. If everybody else agrees with that take, I agree with that take. I think you need to. It's also only 8 episodes for the first season. Things are going to need to be cut. Things are going to need to be changed. I'm looking forward to seeing a different take on this.
Yeah.
Does it worry you that the original creators left the project or no?
It worried us initially, and then it worried Andrew a lot more because Andrew's a fucking nut for this shit. Like, like can recite to you in order every episode of every season. Like he's just a lunatic. So like this show is very sacred to him. It's almost like a second religion. So we were very worried, but since then he's become very close with her name is Michaela Murphy. She plays Toph on the original show. We've become very, very close with her. Well, he has. I've actually never met her, but she is coming on the podcast. So I don't know why I'm saying we, but she's a friend of the show. Michaela, the friend of the show. He's gotten really close with her, and she said that they are very, if we don't get our way, we are walking. They are very stubborn, that they are very loud with their decisions. And she said that it didn't surprise her in the slightest that they left because that's their personality. And that's less of a reflection of Netflix. And it could have been the littlest thing of, you know, like they're making the show. They're not talking about Sozanne's comment at the start of the show because they don't want it to take place over 1 year because of the kid's age. They can't control that. They don't want to do the Netflix Stranger Things thing where, you know, Millie Bobby Brown, who's now 20, is going to be 14 or whatever. They don't want to worry about that. So they, however long it takes them to make the show, they want to take that time. So they're not talking about the year-long thing. Like something as little as that, which makes sense to everybody, could piss them off enough to walk. So now, after hearing her perspective on that, I'm not worried in the slightest.
The one comment that the showrunner for the live action series that's coming on Netflix made that made me pause and go like, oh, because I was oh, whatever, it doesn't really matter that the original creators walked it, like that doesn't mean the show's gonna be bad or whatever. But the one comment in in an interview with Variety, I think that the showrunner for this new show said that made me pause and go like, oh, maybe this is in the wrong hands, is when he said that they're going to show the massacre of the air temple, like the air people, right, from the Fire Nation, because it's not a show for kids. And I was like, oh, that's not a great reason. I was like, but other than that,
Was that the same quote that included Game of Thrones? They were like, we want the Game of Thrones audience for this?
Yeah, it's the same interview as that. And I was like, this isn't great reasoning.
That's not great. Yeah, no, that's not great. No, that's not great.
Last one, M. Night wise, is a movie that you will have seen recently because it came out recently. 1.5 stars for Knock at the Cabin.
Yeah, nope. Sorry, Owen. Sorry, that's another one. You're not getting me on that. I hated every second of that movie. Like, not like
every second.
Yeah, like I don't like not one moment. Like, and I thought, I hated it.
The movie starts, they get that super close up of Dave Bautista, and you're like, fuck this movie.
I didn't get anything out of it. I didn't like it. Sorry. I think I've heard that the book they killed the kid on accident. I think that would have been great. I would have loved to have seen that. Like, I don't know. And I really like
a lot of people in it. Which one?
Why am I doing this? Mindhunter.
Jonathan Groff.
You mean Hamilton? Yeah. Jonathan Groff.
Jonathan Groff. I saw him off Broadway, and he was Seymour in a Little Shop of Horrors. I really like Jonathan Groff.
He's fantastic.
I liked him in New Brain on Broadway. Like I think he's great. Like I like him on Broadway. I like him in movies. I like him in Mindhunter. Like I really love him, but I did not like him here. I don't know. Like I
think he's so good.
Is it because he was gay in this one?
I am I'm very homophobic. Of course.
Well, that's what I was asking.
That was a joke. Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought that. I'm sorry. I am
Hey,
sorry.
put that one on TikTok. Put that one on TikTok.
Well, we had somebody.
I think you froze and then came back, and that was the only thing we got.
That's good. Excellent. No, that was a joke. I'm sorry. I didn't like. I thought that would land way better. I'm sorry. Like, no, like jeez. No, yeah, I just didn't.
Shout out.
It was the first movie I saw in LA. I saw it in a big group. Kind of nobody in our group liked it. I don't know. Maybe I was part of that was part of it, but okay,
mind.
Yeah,
not for me. At the end of the day, not for me. Maybe a little too slow for me. But here's another thing. Kind of a bleak movie. It's like a dark movie. It's a sadder movie. This and that. Like it's. I mean, the concept is really, really bleak. Typically, that is a sign I'm not going to like something unless I personally find something about it that I really resonate with it, a la Zone of Interest. I've never seen an episode of Black Mirror I've enjoyed or liked because of this. Like we just said, Shut Up and Dance. I hate Shut Up and Dance. Even though I get that it's good, I hate it because I'm upset watching it. And I get that that's like the appeal of Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Even though they have positive episodes like San Junipero and Hang the
yeah,
DJ.
even the positive episodes are
another gay episode.
They're also
and that one's not even bleak.
No, yeah, I get that there's good ones, but I don't like bleak stuff like that typically.
Yeah, well, that makes sense, especially
quickly.
When we talk about uncut gems as well. Like anything that makes you feel kind of physically upset.
Yeah,
because it makes
totally
sense.
valid.
Yeah,
to be honest, that's like normal human being response.
Yeah,
I think.
to reject that is I get it. Valid, valid criticism that for a movie that normally doesn't get I don't know. I'm totally okay with that as being your answer. Than I don't know, certain other things that get shouted.
Well, it's not. What am I going to fucking say? It's poorly acted. It's brilliantly acted. Rupert Grint is excellent.
But that's what people fucking say about this stuff.
He's incredible. Yeah. So that's it. I'm totally fine with that.
Terrifying.
Yeah. Okay.
Dave Bautista is terrifying while simultaneously being so soft. He's so gentle and kind, and you totally buy him as this gym teacher or the school teacher, whatever he was.
Good. Yeah.
And here is the notion that maybe I would never give Argylle a better score than Knock at the Cabin, but a movie that I maybe would give a better score than Knock at the Cabin is a movie that we also mentioned, The Beekeeper, which it's fun. It's a fine time, whatever. Yeah. But I remember way more about Knock at the Cabin than I do about Beekeeper, even though maybe I liked Beekeeper more. And that just says something about your film. If it's more memorable, it doesn't matter if you don't like it as much. If you take something away from that sticks with you, then it shows that it matters a little bit more as a film.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay. Tell us about giving the newest Jordan Peele movie, Nope, 1.5 stars.
Oh no!
I say this in my review on Letterboxd because at this point I was old enough to be doing this. I get that it's a good movie, and I get that it's it's the animal thing. It's animal. It's essentially Jaws. That's really interesting. It's a territorial. It's a thing. It's cool. And I the one thing that I really took away from it is the social media aspect, where they stopped giving the alien attention, and it stopped from being the saucer, and it changed into something more elaborate and everything. Because what I got from that is social media stars, when they fall off, they start doing more and more elaborate, ridiculous things to get your attention, and it just gets your attention less. I thought that was really profound. That was the biggest thing I got out of it. But at the end of the day, I really wanted an alien movie. And at the start of the movie, when you're in the farm and the aliens pop out, but it's just the kids in the mask, when the aliens popped out, I was this is exactly what I wanted. I'm so fucking happy. And it's not that.
That doesn't give
it's
you
not that at all.
Yeah,
so I'm sure if I rewatched it, I'd probably love it. I'd probably love it, but I haven't. I haven't. And so that is my initial score, going with one person that loved it and my girlfriend Rachel, who fucking hated it, probably gave it half a star. Like
Okay.
that's what it
But
was.
you're recognizing that it was like a reactionary take based off of your expectations, and you probably don't feel
and
that
I
way
think
anymore.
I'm almost 100% sure I say that in my review is like, this is not what I wanted out of this movie. That's what the score is. It's not got nothing to do with the quality of the film. I just went into it and you sold me, and the aliens pop out in the farm, and I'm like, yes, like this is what and then it's just Jaws, and I didn't want Jaws.
That's fair.
But it's a cool take on. Yeah. If you're gonna do Jaws, do it like that. Like, do something new.
It's better than Jaws.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
No.
We're not gonna get into that right now.
Yeah, we don't need to
Oh.
Okay. Bit of a horror classic here. Nightmare on Elm Street, 1.5 stars.
Yeah. So I've got an interesting story for this one. I used to, in high school, I watched Samurai Cop, which we just talked about, with friends.
Shout out.
And I had already seen it before.
Yeah.
And I was watching it with my friends, and I was like giving commentary during the movie, and they were like, that was the funniest experience of my life. Like, that was incredible. Like, can we do this again? And we did it again with another funny movie that I thought was funny, and it wasn't as good because I wasn't talking as much. And that was Tommy Wiseau's The Room. And I thought that they wanted like bad movies, but they were like, no, it's your commentary. And so I had another group come over, and then it was a bigger group, and we did it, and I like wrote a script for it, and I killed. And then I was like, ooh, and they were like, you can make this into a business. And I did it 8 weeks in a row, and I charged people $10 per person to come. And I would do commentary during the movies, and it was during the middle of the school year. I think I was a junior in high school, and for the Halloween one, we did Nightmare on Elm Street, and so I've watched it like 10 times to write the script for it to make fun of it. And at the end of the day, when you watch a movie 10 times and you like, I pretty much have it memorized, like, and you like pointing out things that like other people aren't noticing that are hilarious. Like, I had this bit where I was like, you know, he kills some people immediately, but then he doesn't kill her immediately or whatever. I'm like, you know, I guess he, you know, they're eventually going to go to sleep. Like, I guess he's just a really patient guy at this point, and that would always kill. But like things like that make you think, whether it's a horror classic or not, whether it's a well-made movie or not, there's nobody is ever going to convince me that that movie isn't one of the stupidest movies ever, because I've overanalyzed it to the point where like technically the original Cinderella movie is a classic, but that was one of those movies I did for this thing. And it's a 90-minute movie, and it's not a 90-minute movie. It's like a 70-minute movie. 50 of the minutes is the mouse plot. You're not going to convince me just because you like Cinderella as a child that it's a good movie. It's a bad movie. So I was like, this movie should just be called Mice. Like, what are we doing here? Cinderella has 15 minutes of screen time, and 3 of those minutes is her singing the same word, the Nightingale song, over and over and over. Like, so yeah, so all of those movies I have very much tainted for myself, that I will never be able to admit they're good movies. Goblet of Fire is one of them. Like, the Harry Potter movie.
I saw that rating, but I
wasn't
even bring it up
because I've seen them 10 times. Writing the script for them.
Every Harry Potter movie?
No, just Goblet of Fire, because I think it's the only one that works. Because
so you were running like a comedy show with like movies as like the backdrop.
Yeah, it was cool. By the last one, we got 35 people.
Hell yeah!
It was pretty cool. It was cool.
That's good money. For a high schooler.
It was like now we have a Patreon for the podcast. Shameless plug. We do that. Like we do that once a month. That's one of our tiers, is we do a movie night, and I will do that.
You just like an audio
like
commentary.
like live in your Discord, or like pre-recorded?
Yeah, it's live in a Discord, and so you're all watching the movie with me, but then I'm also
you should just like like a live audio commentary comedy thing is like that's cool.
That is cool.
That's something I haven't. It's like a new.
I haven't considered that.
Yeah,
because I know on Cinema Joe's Discord
I think,
they do.
I think pretty much it does that. Like that's like their whole shtick. I don't know if you know who they are, but that's like their whole thing. I definitely got the idea from them.
Okay.
Question about this one, because this is one that you have in common with Owen, but maybe a different perspective. Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1.5 stars.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jesus.
I don't know why it doesn't work for me. I don't know why, but it doesn't work for me in the slightest.
It's like a really good Marvel movie.
I really love what's it called?
Harrison Ford.
I really love Last Crusade, and I like Temple of Doom. But whatever reason, like Raiders has never worked for me. I don't get it. I don't get it. I know because everybody.
What did you think of the new one?
I really like the start, and I really like the end. The middle chase in Morocco was terrible. It's
You
so
like
bad.
the end? Wait, what?
Oh, the ending was rough.
I mean, like, I don't like that they're going back in time and everything like that. I mean, like the ending, like the archaeology part of it. Like I really like them, like going, okay, we're gonna burn the thing, and then that's gonna have the thing, and then this and that. And then we're gonna look through this hole and this and that. Like I like all that stuff. But for whatever reason, like Raiders has never worked for me. I don't know why. And I get that. Like there are some of my takes that like I know they're hot takes, but like I don't get why people like these things. Like I don't get it. But like Raiders, like I know I'm wrong. Like I know I'm wrong, but I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not just gonna lie to you and say, oh, I like Raiders.
I wasn't expecting this to be the perspective you had on Raiders. I wasn't expecting you to come out and be like, yeah, Raiders doesn't work for me. All of the other Indiana Jones movies do, but Raiders doesn't. Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
And I like because I like Last Crusade more.
None of them work for me, which is like that's the thing.
Yeah. Owen famously hates all of them.
No, I don't get it why it doesn't work for me because everybody I know and love like loves it, but it's boring. I think it's boring.
Interesting.
So bizarre.
This next one is for personal reasons. I put this in here specifically for myself. 2 stars for Memories of Murder. One of my 3 favorite movies.
I'm glad you put this in here. I'm really glad you put this in here because like I love Mr. Bong Joon-ho. Obviously Parasite is one of my favorite movies of all time, and more important, like I love The Host. I really like Snowpiercer.
Shout out.
So everybody's like Memories of Murder might be his best movie, and I'm like, wow, really? I think it's boring. It didn't sell me at all. Like I was bored watching the whole time. And
Are you typically a fan of like true crime stuff?
Do you fuck with Zodiac?
I really like Zodiac. I really like Zodiac. I do think Zodiac's a little long. I like 7. I love Silence of the Lambs. I don't know if that counts, but like, and then I really like Mindhunter. So like, but
so this is like the perfect movie for you.
I know. I know. It's just something about it like did not sell me in the slightest. I just found it boring, and I've got nothing else for you. It's a good movie, technically. Like, and I think the ending is like, oh, he's just a regular guy. Like, I think that's like interesting, but I was bored. And if you bore me, this is my thing. Same thing. Like there are movies all the time that everybody's like, this movie's amazing, and then I'm just bored, and I'm like, I got nothing.
So you thought it was boring when people were just when guys would just jump up and drop kick people like multiple times?
Yeah, again, I'm like I said, I'm not an action guy. So like very rarely does an action set piece like impress me. That's why like my favorite Star Wars movie and probably my favorite movie of all time is the Star Wars movie with arguably the worst action, which is Star Wars 1, New Hope. Like the lightsaber fight with Obi-Wan and Vader is like on a technical standpoint terrible.
Yeah, but it's very emotionally cathartic.
Yeah.
Technically, but not in 1977. Like, was it? Like, but I don't know. I think that's the best paced movie of all time, personally.
Okay.
Do we have
this is
unfortunately we do have to wrap things up. Can we like do like one more and call it?
Sure.
Yeah.
You want to do that?
I'm sorry. I believe they are knocking on my motel to get me the fuck out of here.
Okay.
Let's do this one because this is American classic. Rocky,
I am also
2 stars.
Yeah,
Rocky.
sorry. Not for me. I don't like a lot of the fighting movies. I didn't like the Jake Gyllenhaal one with Rachel McAdams.
Well,
I don't.
I think
don't
it makes
like-
sense now, like after hearing you talk about like the action stuff. Like a lot of this is like, I mean, like how cool Rocky is in the action. So like, I don't know, like a lot of your takes and your explanations kind of make sense together.
Yeah,
the way you're
I
saying about
like.
it.
I understand that I'm hypocritical because I'm hypocritical on our show a lot because like I'll say something like I love Cars 2. It's okay to be fun, and then I'll shit on the prequels because people think they're too good, and I'm like, it's not good enough for them to just be fun. Like I get that I'm a hypocrite, like a major hypocrite. I get it, but like I do think for the most part that like my shit is consistent. Like I don't really like bleak stuff unless it's like particularly profound to me, like Schindler's
Yeah.
List or Zone of Interest or stuff like that, or like and for like I don't know. I think it's a perfectly. I see the similarities with me not liking Raiders and not liking Rocky. Like I think I don't like them for the same reason. They just don't work for me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
No,
All
I
right.
really
think
appreciate
I
you
have like
coming
a
on,
greater
Alex.
grasp of
Yeah.
your brain
I'm
now.
sorry. I'm sorry about the confusion for yesterday. You
Oh.
guys have me on whenever I would love to be back. You are my 3 favorite people on the internet, and I tell you
Yeah,
every
no,
time.
we definitely
I'm like,
gotta
We
do this
appreciate
again.
it.
you need to be posting these clips. You 3 are the funniest people in the world. Like Owen, I can't remember exactly what it was, but Owen said something on this podcast that I was crying. Like, you guys are incredible. Keep up the great work. You are so entertaining. And guess what? You have something that I do not have, which is you actually care in a way that I do not. And that is going to make you guys likable, like in a way that we are not. Like, so definitely keep up the great work. Love you guys so much. Please have
Very
me
nice.
on whenever, and
Absolutely.
please feel free. Like, if I say something you do not like, we are friends. No matter what you say about me, I will not be offended. The only things that I've ever been upset about are George's video. I thought was
Yeah.
too much because George George and I have been on lives before, and he's like vocalized that he wanted to come on the podcast, and that just took me off guard because then like he starts the video and he's like, so the kid in the Spider-Man hoodie proceeds to say, and the taller kid, like, at least call me hat guy. You know my name is Alex. Like, I found that like
Yeah, yeah.
particularly disrespectful. And to make a whole video, like, I don't know, I thought it was a little disrespectful. And then there's a guy that made a video that said I should be deplatformed because I think Hayden Christensen is a bad actor. Any of that stuff, that'll really bother me if you think I should like lose my income, like that'll bother me.
Yeah.
But anything
Yeah.
else, like if Owen ever says that my takes want to make him kill himself, or Kevin, if you want to say that you have no idea what my perspective on art is, or Doug, if you just think I say something that's nonsensical, please feel free to come for us. It's no stress at all. But anyway, love you guys so much.
No.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
for
thank you
having
so
me
much
on.
for being on.
Thank you so much for
guys
coming
are the
on.
best. Thank you. I'm glad we
Yep.
could make this work. All right. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Okay. All of Alex's links are going to be in the episode description, and we can wrap up there, I guess. Obviously, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And you can come back next week for episode 53. We're going to be doing a little Valentine's Day themed episode. And we'll see you later.